So Norman is, of course, the CEO of LIV Golf and ended up going on the Tucker Carlson show on Fox. For those unfamiliar, Carlson is a political commentator who, if you believe there is a left and right, would be classified as a right-wing TV pundit, even though if you know anything about real politics, you'll know that this entire left versus right debate is a political smokescreen in itself, meant to distract the masses and keep you asking questions or prevent you from asking questions about who is actually running the United States and Canada. But this is a golf show, so I'll try to avoid dropping too many red pills on y'all. And we're going to talk some Greg Norman. So anyways, he goes on the Tucker Carlson show, and one of the biggest things he said was that Tiger Woods was offered somewhere in the range of $700 to $800 million to go play for LIV. Greg Norman's quote was, "That number was out there before I became CEO." He added, "Look, Tiger is a needle mover, right? So of course you got to look at the best of the best. They originally had approached Tiger before I became CEO. That number is somewhere in that neighborhood." Now, according to another report I saw online this week, Tiger Woods is already officially a billionaire. Tiger's already worth over $1 billion. So what would Tiger's motivation be to leave? Hey, Tiger, we can give you close to $1 billion. Well, I already have $1 billion. Plus, Tiger's 46 years old, and from what we've seen so far in 2022, is barely going to play again. Also, with the team format LIV has in place, why would any of those captains want a guy who can barely walk 18 holes, never mind compete at the highest level again? It doesn't make sense for anyone all around. So if you're LIV, of course, I mean, you want Tiger, but at no point could anyone ever think this would make sense for Tiger or any of the big-time sponsors he's involved with. I mean, Tiger taking that money would mean the end of his Nike relationship, as well as many of the other big brands he's involved with. So when this news broke, I saw it creating a storm on Twitter. The headline, it was a Sports Illustrated tweet that said, "Tiger refused between $700 to $800 million to go to LIV." And some guy responds and says, "Because he has morals." So I had to jump in naturally and responded with a picture of Tiger's mugshot after he was arrested for being asleep in his car in Hollywood, Florida a few years ago, and suggested he go read Armin Katayan's book on Tiger, and maybe he might change his mind on whether Tiger is a moral man. I did receive several hundred likes on the tweet, mostly positive comments, but there's always some few random anonymous Twitter dudes, nobody who actually puts their name on their Twitter account, who are going to jump in and start attacking me. So they started with the personal insults and called me old-looking, etc., which for anyone that knows me or has seen me knows that I look about 10 years younger than I actually am, so I didn't take that personal in any way. But I just found it funny that grown men out there still believe their sports idols are perfect human beings. Look, Tiger Woods is the greatest player in the history of the sport of golf. No arguing that. Tiger's one of the most influential athletes ever in the history of all sports. It's Tiger and Michael Jordan who revolutionized the business of sports. Tiger's done 10,000 amazing things when it comes to golf. He changed the game for the better 1,000%. But are you really going to sit here and think Tiger Woods is a moral man? Really, a guy who cheated on his wife with dozens upon dozens of women. A guy who likely blew off time with his children because he was hooking up with waitresses from Perkins or some go-go dancer from a club in Las Vegas. That's what you call moral. Now, I'm not sitting here claiming to be a moral person. I too have done some pretty crappy things in my life. Maybe that's why I can perhaps spot when another man is not exactly as moral as they claim to be or has done plenty of immoral things. But Tiger Woods is not a man of high morals. I mean, is it moral to send text to another woman telling you love her more than your wife while sitting at home with your wife and kids, and then have your wife find those messages on your phone and then take a 9-iron to the windshield of your SUV? I was just amazed at how many people were attacking me for pointing out that Tiger Woods isn't exactly a moral man. It's amazing how many grown men walk around in today's society believing the guys they watch on TV playing sports are these perfect human beings who never do anything bad or immoral in their personal lives ever. They also have the same naivety when it comes to their politicians as well. Oh no, they would never do anything nefarious or evil, and they love me because I pay taxes and I put a Ukraine flag on my Twitter profile. It's just completely mind-blowing how many people walk around in life with their heads in the sand. Anyways, so yeah, Tiger Woods doesn't need $800 million, and he's not a moral person, but let's go back to Greg Norman.